Maker Update.
My last few Maker Update videos have featured some pretty silly off-the-cuff explorations. But for this video, I want to return to some of my more serious project build work. I say serious. My job is to make playful, interactive sound objects, so... For this Maker Update video, I wanted to add a new interactive feature to the Windmill, a feature that would make use of this specific part of the model here, the radio communication tower. For those of you who haven't seen it in action yet, the Windmill is an interactive music experience that allows you to uncover a dynamic music soundtrack that unfolds and changes as you explore the various dwellings throughout the model. When I originally added the radio tower to the Windmill, I actually intended it to be an interactive element as well, but due to deadline crunch for the original Playces production, it was never explored. Until now. So in order to bring this element to life, the plan is to turn this tower into something called a capacitive proximity sensor, using conductive paint. This would allow me to detect when someone's hand approaches the tower and even read how near or far away it is. Exactly like my interactive painting of Chester the Toucan from one of my previous Stitch videos. However, this time, instead of using this capacitive proximity sensor to trigger the playback of a sound sample, it would instead work more like a slider or a dial, which would allow me to crossfade the music with the sound of warped radio static and white noise, as if to suggest that the radio tower is responsible for transmitting the soundtrack experience that the Windmill creates. So I rolled up some cardboard, coated it in conductive paint, and placed this in the centre of the radio tower, like so. I then attached a wire to it, ran this down through the model, and connected it to the microcontroller that deals with all of the other interactive elements throughout the model. In addition to this, I also wired up a knock switch, so that I could also detect when someone actually directly taps or hits the tower as a secondary interaction. I then wrote some Arduino code that made it possible for me to read both of these sensors as MIDI messages, and added this to the original code, which, when added to the wider sound experience of the Windmill, ends up sounding something like this.